carbon fiber mask.
And we're live.
Simeon
And
be
you
on
would.
me, like, who won
We're
this
live,
race?
and Jim's already complaining.
But he's got a cigarette and everything.
Endless. Jimmy's
So-
not complaining. Jimmy's just pointing out.
Our friends over at Yaesu have done a thing, and I'm kind of liking it. I'm kind of digging it. There is a new radio on the market. We're gonna give it just a couple of seconds for everybody to show up here. So we're just gonna wax philosophic here. But we got Jim over there. Jim's in the truck, still with the air conditioning on, because that's Jim's signature move, and the blue shirt, of course. And we have Mike K and MRD down here. Mike dropped a video.
Windows open. It's off. The window's
Mike
open.
dropped
It's
a video
beautiful day
on
here today.
This radio a couple of minutes before I set up my live stream. I'm setting this thing up while I'm getting notifications that videos are coming out, while I'm getting tweets, while all of my friends in the Discord and everybody that's got my phone number is just blowing me up about this new radio. So I wanted to just jump right in, and no editing. We don't know what we're doing. This is typical for me, but wanted to talk about it. I first saw this radio when my buddy Hayden sent out a tweet this morning, because it's last night for him. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow night. He's going to bed right now. He's already in bed. Is that Mike from Gigaparts? Yes, it's Mike from Gigaparts. About this new Yaesu FTX 1F. And before Jim complains about it, I want to complain about the name. I don't like the name. It's hard to say.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll grow on us, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, they do the F series on all their radios. FT something maybe. On almost all their radios.
I mean, we could just shorten it to the 1F.
Yeah. That's probably what I'll do. Because I always say 705 when I'm talking about the 705. And that's what this thing is a 705 killer. I think we finally have the official killer here, but time will tell when we get this thing in our hands. We've said this a couple of times about a couple of other radios before that did not live up to the expectations of destroying the out. Yeah, Lou, it's your fault. It's
X6200.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have anything about the size in the. I'm just looking at this thing that Jason from Gigaparts sent. Talks about all the features and stuff, but doesn't talk about the physical size of it. Some people are speculating early that they use that it looks like the FTM 500, which it kind of does.
It looks a lot like the 500. I'm assuming it's going to be bigger because I think it pretty much has to be bigger in order to deliver on all of the promises in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, you have to have the 2 meter and 70 centimeter stuff that the FTM 500 has.
Deeper.
Yeah. And then you also have to have all of the HF finals and the HF filtering that goes on inside of there. So
and a 4.5-inch touchscreen, which is I don't know the size of the 705s, but I would guess it's similar in size. So
I did that thing. I knew that was going to be a question, and so I brought the tape measure. And I'm on the wrong screen. I'm trying to
get out of here.
That.
Look at you.
I brought a tape measure and a 705, and I am prepared. So how big is that screen? Like 4.5 inches, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so tape measure out.
4.5-inch touch screen.
And these are always measured diagonally. And the IC-705 screen is 4.5 inches. Okay. So this is your basic form factor to match. And if you look at the Yaesu radio, I'll put it back on the screen. The Yaesu radio has 2 speakers down here instead of 1 speaker over here. And so that's going to give you some more depth below that screen. And Yaesu still has the soft buttons at the bottom of the screen like the 705 does, but not the physical buttons that are at the bottom of the screen. And then Yaesu's got one more knob. So if you're a knob twiddler.
I'm kind of worried about that touch screen though, because like the FTDX10 has a pretty decent touchscreen. I was playing with Jason's over the weekend, but watch him do something like the FT5D's touchscreen, where it has like that plastic bubbly film over it that you kind of have to press into before you actually get it to touch.
Yeah, it's a capacitive. It's a pressure touchscreen, not like on your iPhone. Sorry, it's not a.
Well, it's not pressure. It's just like on the FT5. There's just this little like plastic film over it that you kind of have to give it a little bit of a push before you, and you're not pushing the screen, you just have to push through that plastic. So I don't know.
So there's some specs down here at the bottom, and let's see.
I see that it looks like it. It looks
Looks
like it has that that
Your
3D
words.
thing that's in
3D
the
spectrum
desktop
scope. Yeah.
full-size radios.
So it's HF50 144 430. It's supposed to have 9 hours of operation.
Yeah, that's
Let's
insane.
see. SSB, CW, AM, FM, and C4 FM. So this is the 991A in a smaller package, it's smaller wattage. Resistive touchscreen, Michael. That's the word I was looking for. SDR
That's very
technology
cool.
and 3D spectrum scope. 2 independent receiver circuits provide true simultaneous dual band operation, whether in the same band or in different bands. For example, SSB communication on HF bands simultaneously with C4 FM digital communication on VU bands. That's it's very impressive. That means full duplex. That means satellite operation. So I saw that my buddy Robert, Digital Rancher, put out a tweet today going, "Ooh, this is going to do it."
He nails those satellites so well with what he's already got. I'd be curious how this would be any better than what he already has.
I would assume it would just be a tiny bit lighter.
Maybe. We don't know those specs though, but
we don't. We can speculate though.
True simultaneous dual band operation would speculate you can transmit on one band and listen on the other at the same time. So
this is pretty interesting. So there's a couple of things that I need to unpack out of here. An optional automatic antenna tuner can be attached to the rear. So I like the fact that you can kind of attach it, bolt it on. I hope it's not just like an accessory that sits in the bag, which is what the 705 has to suffer from. The tuner just kind of floats around. So I'm running the Elecraft T1 tuner with my 705, but any tuner that you want, like the MAT 705 or even some of the LDG units, just kind of sits in the field with you. This one looks like it attaches. It says with the 5,670 milliamp hour high capacity lithium ion battery pack. So it's a tuner plus an extended battery. That's an amazing thing right there.
Well, is that a battery pack or is it just? I mean, obviously there's a battery, but is it just kind of modular? Like you can add it. Like a stack,
like a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to understand what they're saying because it says the tuner can be attached with the high capacity battery. So does the tuner is the tuner the high capacity battery, or is it, a triple stack? Radio tuner battery pack, or radio battery pack, or radio tuner no pack. So I don't know. And then it says the optional cooling fan. This is where the 705 wins. The optional cooling fan, which is necessary for comfortable FT8 operation, can also be combined with the antenna tuner for an all-in-one rear panel design. So that might mean it's a 4-part sandwich. The 705 does not need that cooling fan under normal operation. I have run probably 700 or 800 FT8 contacts through mine in a session, my 705. And this is the first time I ever noticed the temperature gauge on the 705 change color. It starts to get this little like magenta, like the blue between the red starts to turn into like this weird magenta color. I'm like, oh, that's a weird color. It must be getting hot.
Yeah, so I've never had my Icom radios overheat.
But the FT817 overheated. That was one of its death tremor things. And
I haven't abused my 818 enough for it to overheat, but I've certainly done some FT8 with it in the field. Like last year at Dayton, I brought it out. I was doing a bunch of FT8 and never had any problems.
I ran my 818, but I did put a fan on the heatsink portion of the back of the radio to help keep it cool. Todd, that was the whole goal, was to complain about the speculation. I mean, if only a certain person knew a certain group of people that would be happy to talk to him about this product.
And I was talking to John on Sunday, and he made no mention of this. Terrible, John.
Terrible, yeah.
So
RF front end and low noise reference
oscillator, you could mention this on.
Right? Enable phenomenal multi-signal receiving characteristics. So this is Yaesu's world-class, front-end receiving technology. Yaesu does have really, really good ears.
Yeah.
Very good discrimination and selectivity between signals, and it also has a very, very good DSP function that keeps all the unwanted
noise reduction out. On a Yaesu is better than anything I've ever seen, and I include Flex Radio on that comment.
Don't play poker with John. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, N7, forget your life. He's saying he got it up to purple hosting the 30-minute FM UHF net. That's kind of where I went. I kind of got into purple. I didn't get into red. I got into purple. And I didn't back it off. I just kept on going because it wasn't red. So why not?
Yeah.
Effective QRM rejection afforded via high-speed 32-bit intermediate IAP intermediate frequency DSP. Yaesu's renowned interference reduction system, shift width, notch, contour, APF, DNR, and noise blanker. Yep, those are all things we just talked about. Compatible with Wires X operation, so that means it's got networking in it. PMG, primary memory group, MAG, memory auto grouping. If you're a memory person, let's see, it has HF band, VHF band, UHF band that we talked about. It also does air, receive, and then others. So I'm assuming that's like FM broadcast radio or AM broadcast.
I thought it would be
radio,
like cell phones or something.
Only if that were legal. We still block out the 800 megahertz band, even though no cell phones use it. Life is too short for QRP, says Doug. Doug, QRO won't make your life any longer either, though.
But it'll make it more fun.
There's so many comments I want to chat back at.
Right? USB port supports CAT operation, audio input, output, and TX control, transmitter control. Will be available early 2025. Please be ready for the forthcoming exciting new radio. I'm already ready. I was ready like 2 years ago when they discontinued the 818. I'm like, this means there's room. This means they need to get in there.
I'm surprised it took this long because Yaesu's been pumping out radios like crazy over the past
They've been doing
few
like
years.
one a year, yeah. Because it was the 200 at Huntsville at Hamcation like 2 or 3 years ago. And then it was the 500, and then it was the FTDX10, and then it was the FT710, and now it's the FTX1F.
Don't forget the 300.
I'm not a fan of the 300, but that's just
I was going to ask where did that fall, because the 500 came out at Dayton last year. Well, that was when you could buy it at least. And I think the 300 was out before then.
4-5 saying Yaesu's trying to steal Icom's thunder. I don't think so. I think Yaesu has created the thunder. I think they have created the storm, and everybody else needs to play catch up now.
Yeah. So a couple things I'm curious to know. One, it doesn't mention GPS, which would be really helpful out in the field, because like my Icom 705, my Icom ID50, both have GPS. And I can use the GPS just with a USB-C cable. If I don't have accurate time on my Mac, which never happens, but you know, if I'm in the middle of the desert and I need to do FT8 and my time isn't synced, I can use a program on my Mac and get the GPS from either of my Icom radios and sync the clock on my Mac, just like that. And I'm also curious what type of it. I noticed they say USB connector, but is it going to be mini USB like the ID50?
It's going to be the printer
micro.
It's going to be the big one.
Yeah, is it going to be the printer cable? If it's anything but a USB-C, shame on you, Yaesu.
Right.
Nothing, no other USB should be put on any device in this day and age.
Yep, and it doesn't say
Amen.
Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, but I'm assuming, speculating that it's going to have Bluetooth or Wi-Fi because it would be stupid not to.
Bluetooth, I can get Wi-Fi. I mean, do you really need to connect to your radio over Wi-Fi when you're out in the field? Other than you, because you
could be using a hotspot. I don't know what it does for you, but you know, if you have a hotspot or you're tethered to your phone, one of the two. But again, I don't know why. I guess if you want to do C4 FM and jump in a Wires chat room or something.
Yeah. Jerry's asking about the price. It's not coming out till 2025. We don't know the price, but I'm assuming expensive is the answer. The 705 is what, $1,200 now at a minimum?
I think so, yeah.
I would expect this to be $1,200 to $1,300 easily.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking a little higher than that.
Does it have built-in APRS?
It may be. Maybe.
Yeah, no mention of APRS.
Yeah, so the Wi-Fi function, Mike, I would say Wi-Fi would be for connecting all of your radio apps to your phone or connecting them to your computer that need more bandwidth than Bluetooth offers. So like WinLink or FT8 or something along those lines. We use SDR control with the 705 to do remote FT8 or remote CW or remote voice. 705 was $1,350 at Gigaparts last week. That's expensive.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Hey,
like
Tom.
1,500 for this easily.
Yeah. So it is 6
I can
watts
see that.
on the internal battery. So right here, SDR technology will provide 6 watts of power output with the included 5670 battery pack, and then 10 watts of output power on external power.
What are the amp hours on the battery?
5.6.
5.6 amp hours.
5,600 milliamp hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Critical. Chris, I
And
would
it's
like to
and it's
unpack that a little
lithium.
bit.
So Yaesu had a big chance to put a lithium battery in the 818, and they stuck with NiCads, which only God knows why. So everybody has the WinCamp lithium battery in their 818s, I hope. But it's still only like half that capacity. Now that does have a big screen to power, but I'll be curious what the standby power consumption is. I mean, on the 890 or the 705, it's only like half an amp. I think it's pretty low.
So these are not for sale yet. Does it have video out, Chris? That is a fantastic question that I want the answer to myself.
I got $1 says no.
This is a field radio. This is a replacement for the 818. You don't need a video out for a field radio.
I don't see this is going to have a video out on it.
Here's where it gets interesting. I had the 7300. I like the 7300.
Well, they could do it over USB-C.
I sold it because I have the 705 and I have a 100-watt amp. And I couldn't see a reason to have both of those all three of those devices at once. So I sold the 7300 and kept the 705 for that reason. So I'm like simultaneously excited that we have a ton of new radios coming out, new things to play with, new frontiers to explore, but also it's a lot of stuff coming out here recently. You know, it's kind of crazy. Like Jim, you got that Pico APRS, and then LilyGo brought out the T-Tower like what, a year later?
Yep.
And it's like, which one of those do I keep?
A lot cheaper. Well, I have unboxed the LilyGo and looked at it, and of course we did it on Nuggets. But I'm like, I think I'm going to be selling the Pico because I can buy 5 LilyGos for the price of the Pico.
Yeah, you got to get that money back.
And it's not like I carry the thing around. It rides in the truck, so I can use it as a TNC with APRS.FI on my phone. I mean, that's all I use it for.
There you go, Tom.
I don't know that the LilyGo is a transceiver, which the Pico is, but
yeah, I don't know.
It trumps Icom Special Edition HT, the ID52A Plus or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Well, they've got the new HF radio,
guy, right?
That X60.
The X60. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there to play with.
I was going to ask, what's the deal with the 52A Plus? Is it juicier?
It has some extra features.
It's
a little bit,
right?
It's a minor upgrade.
It is a minor upgrade, but I think it's to compete with the D75 from Kenwood.
Yeah. Novak did mention specifically it had USB-C in it.
Yes.
I mean, like he pointed that out. Oh, look, it has USB-C.
Yes. It's catching up to the ID50.
Yeah,
right.
Marvin's asking, what is an X60? Marvin, that is a question that we're all trying to figure out. Icom announced it at Dayton and showed a hodgepodge of parts to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the marketplace. And then they were talking about it at the Tokyo Ham Fair and again at Huntsville. Yep.
What I noticed at Huntsville at the Icom booth, and I can't remember if they had it at Florida because they keep that small kind of rover booth for both of those festivals. But there was no 7851 at the Icom booth at Huntsville. So I'm wondering if they took that down in the X60, and a lot of people have speculated this, that X60 mystery thing at Dayton is the replacement for the 7851, which in that case, I don't think will be as much of a deal for most people because that's like a $15,000, $20,000 rate. I mean, there's what's the 7851, like 12 grand or something?
Yeah.
Like they're crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a big market for this new Yaesu radio, and I'm pretty curious to get my hands on one, which I said in my video probably won't be till Hamcation. I doubt I'll be buying one because I have. I mean, there's the 818. Right? It just happened to be sitting on my table. But I've got that. I got the 705. I got the X50 105. I've got a broken recent RS 918. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm really curious to see how that sounds, because it is my opinion that every single portable radio on the market is not loud enough. So
well, that's the one thing I like about the 705 is the speaker mic, because like the sound is right here in my face while I'm doing whatever I'm doing.
not a big fan of the speaker mic.
It doesn't have good fidelity, but it has good functionality in my mind.
Yeah. What else did I want to say? Yeah, the people. Do we? I mean, I guess we, and I don't include myself with this. A lot of people are really upset about a lack of a tuner, and to me that just doesn't compute. I can only remember a couple times in the last 5-6 years that I've used a tuner for any antenna, other than when I just did that doublet that Snowcone sent me, which is freaking awesome. You need a tuner for that. And I'll happily bring a tuner out in the field, but like, use resonant antennas.
Right.
So, I mean, I can argue for a 9-to-1. I can argue for anything, but not having a tuner. People were griping when the Yaesu came out with the 891. Oh, I don't have a tuner. Who cares? So I don't know. That's not a deal breaker to me, but a lot of people get really butthurt that radios don't have a tuner.
I would think it would just be an extra feature to add on to the radio. When you're buying a premium radio, I would expect some premium features, right? You want to kill the 705. You want to kill the 705. Put a tuner in the thing.
Do something it doesn't do.
You've got something that the 705 doesn't
Don's
do.
got you, Mike.
And I don't disagree with you, Mike, that maybe a resonant antenna is better. But, I mean, I like the Poseidon. I use the Poseidon. I used the crap out of it at Huntsville.
I know.
I've got it hooked up as a secondary antenna on my Flex. Got to have a tuner for it. Sorry.
I know. But that's your choice.
And
you choose to use an antenna that needs a tuner.
Targeted at a specific... Yes.
I do like the idea that the
point is, though,
the radio has...
Whether you...
Fight!
I mean, it's a feature that the 705 doesn't have. You want to distinguish it from the 705? Put a tuner in it. It already sounds like it's got a better battery life than the 705 does, which I think is a major plus for the Yaesu.
Yep, dual receive is amazing.
I'm
if it actually
I don't have
does
any scientific
that.
data on that,
but Jim, you are also
but what they
not
said 9 hours.
You and I talked at Huntsville just a few days ago. You are not a portable operator.
What did I say?
You sit in your house and hunt POTA, which is great.
Uh-uh.
But as someone who is 99% a portable operator, I can tell you, one, I don't care about a tuner. Sure, if it had it, it would be nice. But is it a deal breaker for me? Absolutely not. That's just more weight, more battery, some battery consumption.
Well, no, I just...
And it's just never...
battery consumption is
never in my life have I been like, man, I wish I had an antenna tuner. Which I do. I've got a couple that I can bring out in the field. But that's just one extra thing. If it were built in, sure, that'd be great. You can use a 9-to-1 like your... what is it, the Poseidon?
The Aries is the 9-to-1, Poseidon's the 4-to-1.
Okay.
Or the Aries is the 9-to-1, the Poseidon is the vertical. But yeah, I just think it's a feature they could have put in. The antenna tuner uses almost no battery. You can run an LDG tuner on 6 AA batteries for. I said some.
But yeah, and no mention of the ATOS either, which Don is talking, which I don't know if I touched on in my video. Someone commented on my video. No tuner means no ATOS, which is crap because my 891 doesn't have a tuner, and somehow it tunes my ATOS that's on my car. So yeah, you don't need a tuner for the ATOS, but I would imagine it would. Does the 818 do ATOS? I don't think it does.
I don't know. But perhaps if you have one sitting right behind you, you can scroll through the menus on.
Yeah, I'm not about to scroll.
The 857 will drive an ATOS.
I don't think it
does not have a tuner.
Yeah. You don't need a tuner to run an ATOS. You just need the ATOS control thing to do that.
Oh.
But
don't need any power at all.
There's not many people who are using an ATOS portable.
You get small manual.
45. You hush.
Yeah, I've got that little MFJ. It's like that big. It's a tuner.
Tiny.
It works great.
Yep.
I bought it at a
I
ham
do
fest.
like
The guy wanted $80. I talked him down to like 40.
Nice. I do like the fact that it's modular in design, so you can snap on extra options behind it. So I can see a bright future for third-party accessories snapping onto that.
Well,
that
we don't
could, like,
we don't know how that's going to interface.
right.
The verbiage was kind of vague. So yeah, I'll be
Well, so,
curious
like,
if that is an extra battery that is added with the tuner. But it says you can add a tuner, you can add a fan to the battery. So maybe they're just little modules that
little sandwiches or something.
like the kind of like there's that Chinese radio that I think Josh and Tiny Texan reviewed, where the battery like snapped on the bottom, kind of like that.
Mhm.
I'm wondering,
or the
who
one for the
knows?
Lab 599 radio.
Yeah, kind of like that. So yeah, this radio's definitely piqued my interest.
But I can see somebody making like a Snap-on Raspberry Pi module, or a Snap-on APRS module, or a Snap-on GPS. We don't know if it has GPS or not. It doesn't seem to indicate that in any way. But I would imagine that it does. Like, if I was going to make a new radio today, I would go over every single feature of the 705, and I would check every single box, and then I would add a bunch more stuff to it.
Chris Robinson saying the 817-818 drive the ATOS. And when I said who's using an ATOS portable, I don't mean on your car. I mean like you're setting it up on a tripod or I've seen people do it, but it's not something that's commonly done. One of the guys in my club in Michigan did that, but
What's your thoughts for ATOS for portable? A lot of people like it on cars. I don't know. I mean, it's asking Don, but oh, here we go.
Now I'm curious. How many levels of the Deep F menu do you need to go to use the ATOS? Is there an ATOS setting? Where is it?
Ground spike with several ground radios, and it really sucks. I think if you're going to go through all the trouble to take an antenna out into the field, you might as well take a slightly larger antenna, and only slightly larger. I mean, like a 17-foot whip is probably smaller than the ATOS. Definitely lighter.
Oh, you know what someone else can answer for me that the Yaesu menu fails to? So on the 818, it's, you know how it's got the battery charge? You can go like 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Does that just mean it's going to only charge for 6 hours, or does that mean it allows more current to go in to charge it faster?
I think it's just going to charge for that amount of time.
Yeah.
You know how batteries get harder to charge the fuller they get?
Not really.
The resistance goes up.
But the current goes down.
We're in suspense.
No. I mean, talk amongst yourselves. I don't believe I've ever seen an ATOS setting in here.
Hey, Paul, welcome. We're speculating and arguing about the new FTX 1F.
How old is the 818? I don't have one. I've never had one. I have no idea of its vintage.
What?
Is it pre-ATOS, or has ATOS been around longer than the radio?
It is post-ATOS.
Oh, the ATOS has been around for a long time.
Okay.
But
8 to 10 years old. It's got to be older
17,
than that.
Does that predate the ATOS?
Perhaps if there was some vast repository of knowledge that was searchable.
Right.
Maybe if
I'm Googling it for us.
What's that guy's name? The guy that invented the internet.
Al Gore.
Al Gore, yeah. I wonder if he can help us
Al
out.
Gore?
What is there is no ATOS setting on this. I'm calling shenanigans. What is the setting?
To be fair, once you get it set up on a better radio, then you can put it on your 818.
Yeah.
Once you already have it tuned.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything that indicates that.
Yeah, I'm calling shenanigans. It might. I don't know. I've never even thought about using the ATOS with this, but I do love my 818. It is a cool radio.
There are so many radios, I can't use them all enough.
Yeah. I agree. I've never met a radio I didn't like. I have some I'd like less, but
Yeah.
ATAS was out.
So what else do we need to speculate on this radio? Congratulations,
Lester passed his general last week. Congratulations.
Lester.
Yeah, don't stop studying. You're already in study mode. Do it.
Yeah, if your brain isn't fried enough from that, go hard on extra.
That's
yeah,
right.
because I was going to go do the GROL.
Lester. That's right.
Just, so many things to do, and I got out of study mode. And now it's hard to get back in.
I got to get into study mode because I told Ape I would CW before he does. So
the gauntlet has been thrown down.
Yep.
That's right.
Yes, Robert, we did. More hearsay and conjecture. Mike, we can go on for days. You know this. You were with us at Huntsville.
I did what at Huntsville?
N8YO Mike.
Oh.
We conjectured and hearsayed.
Hmm.
Which is what we do best.
Yes.
Well, folks, just want to get the new on the new Yaesu radio and have a little bit of a friendly debate, friendly discussion, and argument, if you will, about all of its features and all of its things. And there are a couple of places to get it on pre-order, but we're going to have more info as more info becomes available, like GPS, actual.
Are you guys going to order one?
No.
You think y'all will buy one?
I want one.
I would like to be sent one to review, but I don't see this as a 705 killer.
Don's buying one. It's hard to beat the one in the hand.
Don's buying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would have to be one hell of a radio.
Why don't you think it's a 705 killer?
Because the 705 already does everything that does.
Except
so it's not like Yaesu's coming out with anything new, and it doesn't have GPS. It doesn't do D-Star. That was a joke.
I got
so
that.
it's probably more, yes, it will be a direct competitor for the 705 as there currently isn't one, but I'll have to wait and see at Hamcation, but I don't think there's enough to just make me say, oh my God, I need that, and I need that to replace my 705.
And on that note, I'm hitting the button, folks. Thank you all for joining. Thanks, Mike from Ham Radio Tube and Jim from FEP Labs Radio, and we'll see you in the next live stream or video.
Where there will be more speculation.